Yeah, and I mean, with everything that's happening with AI right now and the amount of like from what I've read, people are using AI a lot to validate their thoughts, but to a point of second guessing themselves. Like that's becoming prominent. I think sometimes I've caught myself like, wait, normally I would lean on my intuition and make a decision. Why am I consulting AI for every little thing in this particular, time, right? Which there's some pros and cons to it. And the people that we work with a lot are, CMOs of companies that are struggling with what I think is a level of self-trust, or they're operating really low on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, maybe in scarcity, right? Fight or flight mode. And they're not at that level of executive decision making that maybe they were at in their prime. So what we see is like a lot of CMOs running the same exact playbook they ran in 2018. They're kind of like refusing to adapt. And I think that the lazy assessment I would make is like, they just get it. They're past their prime. They're being lazy. But I don't really think that that's your take. I think
So
what I wanna know is what's really going on inside of that person that's causing them to resort to the past and to operate more scared.
that for a very long time, conditions didn't change very quickly. And when conditions didn't change very quickly, we could just ask somebody else what to do. We could just wait for McKinsey to come back after 6 months with a project. We could just have our VC tell us the same thing that a company did 6 years ago, and that'll probably work good enough for us now. I can just do what I did at my last company in 2011 and apply it again in 2019 and change a couple of things, and maybe it'll work good enough. And then whatever we did last year, we can just like change it a little bit. Like don't change it too much because that might be risky. So we'll just change it a little bit and we'll just keep doing the same thing that we've done over and over again. And it was a good enough strategy when conditions didn't change that much. And so what the effect of that is that nobody learned to think for themselves. Nobody learned to be adaptable. Nobody learned to fully trust themselves inside of their career. It developed a class of a very experienced, very talented, very high potential professionals that have dramatically undertrained all the skills that matter in the future. And so now, when things are moving more quickly and we can't wait for McKinsey to come back with a project, or our company won't even fund us to buy Gartner anymore because, like, now we have AI. It's just now all we're doing is we're deferring our judgment to somebody to AI instead of to the consultant or to the person on social media or to McKinsey. And so it's no different than what we did in the past. It's just using a different tool to defer our judgment to somebody else. And the reason it hurts now is because things are moving really fast. And so now, if we do not trust ourselves and things are moving much faster, now our business is at risk, right? Now we don't have 3 board meetings to talk about it. And in addition to that, the companies that these CMOs work for do not incentivize innovation. They incentivize risk mitigation, especially in marketing. So now CMOs are in a really tough spot. It's like if I do the low risk move, which is doing whatever is accepted, then it's most likely to not work and I'll be fired in 2 years. But if I do something innovative that is risky, it could work, but it's more likely I'm going to get fired in 6 months. And so now you're just in a spot where you're a deer in headlights, right? I have a lot of empathy for this. My business worked with all of these people. Like I experienced this uh, over and over again, hundreds of times. And so now it's gotten more dramatic, more fast, and harder to succeed. And so it's for the most part it's a lose-lose situation. And so what I realized during this is that it has nothing to do with the talent of the CMO. It has everything to do with the culture of the company. And no matter how good of a CMO you are, right? You can see some of the quote unquote what's viewed as the best CMOs. Every 9 months they get fired and go to a different company.
Mhm.
And so why is that? Is it because they just have a good brand and they're actually not a good CMO? I don't believe that. I believe that the environments that they enter in set them up to fail, and they're gonna, no matter what they do, they will fail and be recycled. And so To me, that is the overarching the premise that it was good enough for a long time. It's no longer good enough, and now it's a liability.
Yeah, I think that the few CMOs that I've talked to in the last few weeks, it it's a very true story where, I mean, they just took a job, but they feel something immediately wherever they started. They could feel that energy. And they're already probably thinking, okay, what company can I apply to next? You don't really get to know until you've probably joined it. And talk about risk mitigation. I mean, we had originally niched down, Chris, in working with cybersecurity companies, which I'm sure you carried a few of those logos at Refine Labs. The risk mitigation that's inherent in a lot of security companies, unfortunately, from a marketing standpoint, is play it safe. Like they can't even get testimonials. Like it's a very crazy environment in many ways. But risk mitigation, I hear verbatim, is kind of what these CMOs are doing to make sure that they don't lose their job in the short term.
Yeah. So let me push back on the idea that you don't know until you get in there.
Okay.
Okay. So if you were going into an interview and you're interviewing with six different people in the company and they all look sick. They're coughing, they're sneezing, they got snot running out of their nose. Then uh, what would you do?
Put on a mask, quickly run outside the door. Don't take the job
You'd
off.
probably be like, I don't, yeah, if everyone in this company is sick, then I don't want to subject myself to this, right? It
Yeah.
would be an immediate no. Um, and so, what I'm suggesting to people is that this is the same thing. We have when when we have not focused on our frequency, we end up, and we're at tier 1.8, we end up working with a lot of other tier ones
Mhm.
that are I would argue, or I would consider, I would invite people to consider that it is a disease that we don't understand yet. And that when you've probably experienced it, when you focus and you elevate your frequency, and you spend time with some of those people, it's like you're walking into a room of people that are sick.
Mhm.
Not in a derogatory way. It's just like I'm not going to subject myself to this environment, right? It's at some level around probably tier 4, you feel allergic to it. You're like, I can't be in this place. Like I can't even be in a meeting with you. And so it's like it's not that we you can't tell until you get in there. You can't tell if you until you get in there if you are not aware of
Mhm.
it. Um, and it becomes an incredible filtering criteria. Um, only if you have the level of self-worth that says this money is not worth my health, my self-trust, my creativity, my family life, my sleep, because a lot of people don't feel that way yet. So there is a very clear way, and you must see it in yourself in order to see it in others.
Mhm.
It's the
Mhm.
truth. So, but you
Well, I
can
wanted
tell, and it's the number one filtering criteria for clients, vendors, jobs, even intimate relationships. It's the number one filter for all of them.
we have a what we market as a workshop before we bring someone into a longer term contract with us. But a big part of that workshop is this a good mutual fit? Right. And there's
Hmm.
been a few occasions, even if cash is tight, and I just go, "Oh, hell no. This is gonna drag us down emotionally. This is not good energy." Unfortunately, a lot of it's like, when companies are at the seed stage and everyone's hair is on fire, but we respectfully will decline. And I never felt comfortable doing that up until recently, where I'm like, I trust that whatever's ahead of this decision of saying no to this customer, we will find other opportunity where there's better alignment and we will succeed.